If you want to learn the secrets behind how I'm able to run 2 8-figure companies as the CEO and stop my day at 5 p.m. so I could be present with my kids, and on top of that, train for Ironman and just stay active and be somebody that shows up for their friends and go on date nights with my wife, I want to share with you some productivity strategies. Okay, they're not even hacks. They're literally different ways to think about manufacturing time and designing your calendar and looking at your week that nobody's ever taught you in business, because it's taken me literally 25 years of iterating to understand the way I think about my energy and my time and leverage so that you can take this information and apply it to your business. Today, let's get into it. The number one thing, if you got to look at my life, that you would notice is completely different from most people, it's by design, not by default. Here's what I mean by that. I literally am intentional of not only my day, my week, my month, but my year. And I'll even look at like the next 10 years and figure out where am I going and how do I backfill this? Because I learned a long time ago, I don't know if you've ever heard of the big rock analogy, but if you take a container and you start filling it up with the little things, the sand, you put all the water in there that, you might need. This is like the day-to-day, the got-a-second meetings, the pulling on your time. And then you try to put, the pebbles in there, the smaller type projects. And then eventually you have like all these big rock type things, these meaningful things you want to accomplish in your life and get healthy and be a better relationship and grow your business. There's just not enough room in that container. The sequence of the stuff and how you put it in matters tremendously. If you take that same container and instead, by design, start with the big rocks, then sprinkle in the pebbles, then the sand, you fill it all in, and then finally the water, the serendipitous moments throughout your week and your day, that's where you can literally get it all put in the same container. Doing it in the reverse way doesn't work. So that's why when people see that I'm able to accomplish so much with my time, it's because it is so designed. It is so intentional that I don't just let life happen to me. I go out and I create my outcomes by design. The second most important thing that I do to get things done is I package up the details. Here's what I mean by that. It's kind of like when I go on my snowboard trip. I bought this snowboard bag that is so cool because it will fit not only my board and my boots and all my equipment, it even has a place for all my clothes, my gloves, my multiple goggles, and my lodge slippers. Everything I need to go on my trip is packaged up into this snowboard bag. Why is that important? Because I can sit down and get packed up and know that there's one place where everything I need for my trip is gonna be in this special bag, not in 2 or 3 bags, not all over the place, literally one bag. And then when I show up to go on my trip, easy peasy, I don't forget anything. I show up, I got my gear, and I have a great time. That's how I look at my life. I've literally taken every project, everything I need to get done, and I use my calendar to package up the details. Everything, all the context that I need for a conversation in my calendar, to do an activity in my calendar, it is all in the calendar. Some of you guys are like, okay, well, what if somebody invites you to a meeting and you show up, but you have like stuff that you need to look at before that meeting or in that meeting? What I do is I create a separate calendar invite that's called notes for the meeting. For example, like today, I did a bunch of podcast interviews for my book promotion. And in the calendar next to it, I had notes, and it was all of the information around the interviewer, the questions they sent me ahead of time that was in my inbox, any specific context that I need to know about the podcast, reminders of like letting people know when the release dates, et cetera. It was all in there. And why is that valuable? Is it allows me to go from meeting to meeting to meeting to activity to literally live my life. If I've got to go run errands, all the errands that I need to execute are in the calendar. They're not in a separate document. They're not in my inbox. They're not written down on some piece of paper. I literally package up all the details to get things done in one place. It's in my calendar, in that calendar spot with all the information so that I can't forget it. It makes it easy and it allows me to just move very quick through my day. Number 3 is block time. Easily one of the most important things that you need to be doing in your day to get more done. And here's a quick exercise to prove to you how important it is to not only block similar tasks that you're working on, but batch them together. So like when I do anything from, interviews for team members that I'm hiring, or onboarding training, or one-on-one meetings, or coaching calls, or whatever it is that I'm doing, looking at deals in my life, I'm batching them together because I know that the headspace, the context that I built, and the energy that I'm bringing to that batch of work needs to be similar. Here's a great exercise to explain to you how this works. If I asked you to, recite the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and go all the way to the end, and then ask you to recite 1 to 26, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, back to back. Most people would do it fairly quickly in about 25 seconds to 30 seconds, where they could do the whole alphabet and they could do 1 to 26, okay? Now, if I ask you instead to go A, 1, B, 2, and kind of follow that sequence all the way till the end, until you're like Z26, most people on average will take 3 to 4 times more time, a minute, 2 minutes, to accomplish the same task. So this is just proof that when you think you're multitasking, when you think it's okay to like schedule an interview with an employee, to a leadership team meeting, to outlining some videos for your social media, to having a conversation with your partner about something in your home, like that's actually not efficient. It takes more mental, cognitive overhead to manage that different stuff. And the truth is, people think they can multitask and they just can't. It is way better to batch and block time your work, to execute, to move through that as fast as humanly possible, so that you can keep your mind primed on the activity at hand and not get distracted by a bunch of different things, thinking that you're being more productive, because multitasking does not work. Number 4 is theming your days. It's very important, because this is how our mind works, to have places for things that come into our lives. And what I like to do is theme my days. For example, Friday is a money day. Money day means anything around, meeting with my finance team, to my wealth management team, to doing any type of financial analysis or reporting or whatever. Those happen on Friday, because that way when people come to me with like challenges or questions, I don't like put that on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. I put them on Friday, because there's a lot of overhead to kind of being in the headspace of like focusing on numbers for me. I don't know about you, but like I have pretty serious ADHD. I've done 2 videos on this, probably some of my most popular videos on like how it's a superpower and how I deal with it without medication. And I need to use theme days to essentially prime and focus on a bunch of activities, very similar to batching and block time. But I use the theme days. A lot of my clients that I coach that have multiple business, they do the same thing with their companies. They'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday as one company, and then Tuesdays and Thursdays is maybe the new upstart, right? Because it has less time in the week. And then that way they can build a rhythm, they can build momentum, they can take requests on their time and sort them into the specific times of the week, those theme days, so that they can focus on that stuff and they know, hey, this is when I'm going to do that. This is when I'm going to do it. The ability to know when requests come to you and where it goes in your calendar to keep it clean and focused. Theming days will make sure that you don't accidentally fill up your week with just one type of activity, which takes the steam and the momentum you're building on another project, and it gets lost because you keep punting it forward to a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now. And then by the time you get back to it and you're like, oh, we've lost so much momentum, and it's this like flywheel that has to be started all over again because you aren't using theme days in your week. Number 5 is fill it weekly. So the way I do my planning is Sunday nights, usually 8 o'clock before I go to bed, because I go to bed fairly early, because I wake up early. I will sit down and look at my week, look at my goals, look at my projects, and any open spots, I'm going to allocate it. It's either creative work, it's meetings I need to get requested, etc. Now, I have the privilege of having an executive assistant that supports me in all this. But the idea is I want to stress test my week on Sunday to see if it aligns with the goals and the outcomes and the quarterly kind of projects that I want to accomplish in that period. Because if not, I got to retweak it. But the way I think about it, it's kind of like AG1. Have you heard of athletic greens? Like If I do this, I have everything I need to be successful in my week. I fill it once and then I execute. Just like AG1 has all the minerals and vitamins and everything you literally need for the day. So I work out in the morning, have my protein shake, I throw a scoop of AG1 and I know I got my green juice, I got all the stuff that I need for the day and I can move it forward. If you fill your calendar weekly Sunday, then you'll know that it's full of all the big rocks, the initiative, the projects, the things that you need to execute to achieve your goals, and you won't be trying to do catch-up work on Saturday or Sunday morning because you didn't create space and you filled it with stuff that didn't matter. So be sure to plan on Sundays to fill your week so that it's all in there, just like a powerful green juice. Being productive requires intentionality, design by default, block time, focusing on filling your week and putting all of that into a package. And it's why I wrote this book called Buy Back Your Time. If you're interested, click the link below to go grab a copy for yourself, download the audiobook. I read the book myself and I added bonus chapters because I wanted to create the book that unpacks not only how to be more productive, but how to actually scale and grow your time, because there's only 4 ways to create leverage. I cover them in the book and I teach you the buyback loop. So anytime you hit an upper ceiling, I give you the strategy to overcome and bust through that roadblock for you to find your next level of outcomes and productivity. So be sure to click the link to go buy a copy for yourself or somebody you care about. And I hope this finds you awesome. I'll see you next week.